The magic finger is something I have been able to do all my life. I can't tell you just how I do it, because I don't even know myself. But it always happens when I get cross, when I see red. Then I get very, very hot all over. Then the tip of the forefinger of my right hand begins to tingle most terribly. And suddenly a sort of flash comes out of me, a quick flash, like something electric. It jumps out and touches the person who has made me cross. And after that, the magic finger is upon him or her, and things begin to happen.
Type in your worry. OK. I think I'm going to get a stepmother. There are lots of stepmothers in my favourite book of fairy tales. Don't go yuck boring. Fairy tales are seriously cool, much scarier than any X-rated video you've ever secretly watched at a sleepover. Snow White's stepmother is the scariest of all. She doesn't look scary. She looks beautiful in the picture in my book, though her long queen's robes are spoiled because Hannah tried to colour them with purple wax crayon. I was furious. I felt like snapping the book shut and smacking Hannah round the head with it, even though she's only little and didn't mean to spoil the picture. I minded so because it's such a special book. It used to be our mum's when she was a little girl. She gave it to me.
Down in the land of the Igglyplops, an 11-year-old human boy called Stephen Jones lay sprawled on a garden path, surrounded by marbles. "You stupid stick insect!" he yelled. Stephen's sister, Colette, turned round from the flower bed, where she had just picked a snail off a leaf. "It's not a stick insect, it's a snail," she said. "I mean you brainless blue bottle!" Stephen scrambled to his feet and hurled a handful of marbles into a bush. "Stop!" cried Colette. "That's my marble collection." "I know it's your stupid marble collection," said Stephen. "I've just trodden on one, haven't I? Now I'm going to have a collection of bruises."
They took a spoon each and scraped off the creamy stuff and ate it, and then they began to eat the nice spongy inside. Bad Harry said, "Now we've made the trifle look so untidy, no one else will want any, so we may as well eat it all up." So they dug away into the spongy inside of the trifle and found lots of nice fruity bits inside. It was a very big trifle, but those greedy children ate and ate. Then, just as they had nearly finished the whole big trifle, the ring-a-rosesing stopped, and Bad Harry's mother called, "Where are you two? We are ready for tea." Then my naughty little sister was very frightened, because she knew she had been very naughty, and she looked at Bad Harry, and he knew he had been very naughty, and they both felt terrible.
The sun is down. The moon is up. It is bedtime for the little princess. But outside the castle, a dragon is roaring. What shall we do? He's hissing and snorting. What shall we do? We'll tell him to shh. That's what we'll do. Shh.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
I took the box down from the wardrobe and lifted out some old essays. Underneath them was a notebook with astrological symbols on the cover. I had never seen it before, but when I opened it, I saw the white pages were covered in my handwriting. It was dated 3 years ago, back in the time when I was still Emily. I started to read. I like to think it was my parents' fault. If they'd only given me a more interesting name, I might not have spent so much time fantasizing about alternative lives. I agree you can't do much when you're stuck with Grey as a surname. It's a bit of a downer. But they could have tried Catriona or Esmeralda or Arianwen. I mean, there are even people called Magic or Hallelujah or Cherish. I found out 2 years ago that my great-grandmother on my father's side was called Sidonia. And what did they choose? Emily. Emily Grey. As for children on Primrose Drive, there were hardly any. Everyone agreed children were noisy and messy. No matter what you did, they were always heard, and it was impossible not to see them. So it was not surprising that the neat and tidy people of Primrose Drive were fast asleep when 2 coal-black horses, pulling a huge old-fashioned carriage, clip-clop down the street on the dot of midnight. It was a strange-looking carriage.
not only because it had 4 creaky spiderweb wheels and was loaded with what looked like coffins and hat boxes. The carriage also looked peculiar because it was covered in tendrils of dripping scum and waterweed. Vita and Maxie appreciated Santa's sense of humour and left him a minute mince pie on a doll's tea set plate and a thimbleful of wine, and wrote him teeny thank you letters on pieces of paper no bigger than a postage stamp. Well, Vita couldn't fit her shaky pencil printing on such a tiny scrap, but she wrote, "Dear Santa, I love you, and please leave me lots and lots of little presents from your special friend Vita," on a big piece of paper, and then folded it up again and again. Maxie simply wrote a letter M and a lot of wonky kisses. I wrote a letter too, even though I was only pretending for Vita and Max's sake. There are a lot of weird things about my little brother. I crawled onto his mattress and cuddled him close. "It's me, silly." "I thought you were a wild thing coming to get me," Maxie sobbed. Where the Wild Things Are was Dad's favourite book. The little boy in it is called Max. Mum didn't win the lottery on the television. She won with a scratch card. I'm not talking £10 though. 10,000. She looked at the card in the street and she gave this great whoop. She picked my little brother Kenny up and whirled him round and round until he squealed. She couldn't pick me up too because my mum's quite little and I'm big for my age. But she gave me a huge hug and kissed me on both cheeks and then on the tip of my nose too, which made me giggle. "Right, let's get back inside the shop," she said. "We're going to spend. Only don't tell old Sid behind the counter. He's such a gossip, he'll tell everyone on the whole estate. And then the next time we're down the pub, we'll be buying drinks all round for people we haven't met before." "Right, Mum," I said. I gave Kenny a little nudge. "Are you taking this in, chum? Keep that little lip zipped." "Are you sure you're going to be all right?" Mum asked. "They'll be fine," said Dad. "Come on, or that minicab chap will start creating." "You've got the number of the hotel, just in case," said Mum. "It's by the phone. Of course, in a real emergency, you better call the police." "There wouldn't be much point. They'll all be at your dance," I said. Dad bared his teeth in a silly smile. He'd swapped his dark tunic and trousers and white working shirt for this equally naff evening uniform of satin-striped suit and frilly shirt. He wore a clip-on bow instead of his clip-on tie, and a clip-on face, pink, jovial, jowly, always Mr. Plod the policeman.